Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All in All with Alex. I'm your host, of course, Alex. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Evan. I might pronounce this wrong. I might pronounce it wrong. Just gonna let you know. Down south, every now and again. So, Mr. Evan Ungar.
There you go. You got it. Good enough.
All right. And that wasn't rehearsed, everybody. And to let y'all know, it wasn't rehearsed. But how you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me. Really excited to have this chat with you and have some fun. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. Pretty blessed. So I'm here. I'm able to have this podcast with you today. So I feel like I'm doing as best as I can be.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. So can you give the people a brief background about yourself, and then we'll dive into the questions?
Sure. My name is Evan Ungar. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm an entrepreneur in many different industries, predominantly right now real estate. I used to be in athletics. I have 2 Guinness World Records for box jumping, and I wrote an Amazon best-selling book on a self-help topic called Make the Decision, helping people go from, setting goals to actually getting their goals. And that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into it. So what inspired you to write your Amazon best-selling book on goal planning and success?
Yeah, honestly, I wrote it when I was like a lot younger. I was in my early 20s. I had accomplished some amazing things in my young age, and people kept asking me like, how are you doing this? What did you do? Every time you decide you want something, you crush it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna put together the exact sequence of things that I've been taught to do that help me accomplish my goals, and I can just write it all down and put it out there so everybody can get their hands on it, and that's what I did. So basically, a lot of people were asking me what I was doing and how I kept being successful with things I wanted, and that's where the book came from.
So how do you feel that your background in business marketing influenced your approach in entrepreneurship?
I mean, for me, entrepreneurship is really like I think entrepreneurship is storytelling, and that's really what business marketing is. Entrepreneurship, it's hard work. It takes a lot of discipline, but the marketing side is really where you like tell the story of your business, and I feel like along the way I've done that really really well, and people really buy into what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and so it's definitely helped my businesses flourish, and people see the same vision that I have.
So can you share the story behind your transition into real estate and how you built your portfolio across 7 cities in Ontario?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of just I had a consulting business before with my business partner, Jordan, and we were connecting people. Basically, we put our networks together, and we were connecting people who had the resources and people who needed the resources. So, entrepreneurs who needed funding or projects that needed funding, we were connecting the dots. And then we got approached by a gentleman who was in real estate who said, I need a second mortgage, and this is the project I'm doing. And so we said, all right, we'll lend you this money ourselves, no problem. We lent him the money. And then we were thinking, like, how is this guy making profit with the money we've given him when the interest rate was so high? And so we said, okay, you got to show us what you're doing. So we did a few projects with him, and then basically from there we said, you know what, I think we can systematize this and we can do this on our own. And basically went off on our own and started building out this empire of properties across Ontario.
So what are some key strategies, without giving away too much, that you use for successful real estate acquisitions?
Yeah, I think, like, to be honest, the entire deal is made on the purchase. Like, everyone thinks like, oh, if you do really well and you do great rentals, or you make it amazing, you'll have an amazing property. But ultimately, I would say that you make money on the purchase, and so really own in on what your strategy is and make sure that your acquisition is lining up perfectly with your strategy. So we have our formulas broken out, and we have our offering methods broken out. And so when a property comes in or a lead comes in, we kind of look at it and say, okay, this either fits or it doesn't. If it fits, we can move fast, way faster than most people, and that gives us a leg up.
Okay. So how are you able to balance your diverse business interests across real estate, finance, and wellness?
Yeah, it's not easy, but if you're passionate about it, then it's a lot easier. So, I mean, I love the things I do. I really, really love the things I do. And so for me, it gives me life. It gives me energy to do these things. So it doesn't feel hard, even though we're doing things across multiple platforms and sectors. So, no, it's good. I like it a lot.
So, can you discuss the importance of implementing strategic systems in business growth?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a great question. We love our systems. I think like to scale any company, you really have to have systems. And the biggest key there is systems that can duplicate. If you can't duplicate your system over and over, then it's not a scalable system, right? Like a lot of people say, oh, I'm ready for growth. I'm ready for growth. They say, okay, how are you accomplishing this? I'm doing it. Okay, how are you accomplishing that? I'm doing it. Like, okay, well, what if you don't do it? Well, it doesn't get done. It's like, okay, well, we need to put a system in place to make sure that that's not the case anymore, right? It has to be duplicatable, and then once you can duplicate, then you can scale.
What role would you say that goal setting plays in your personal and professional life?
Wow, I mean, it plays every role. Everything we do is based around the goals that we have. What we'll do is we'll plan like our full year goal in advance. We'll make a really ambitious goal, one that kind of makes us nervous, like, holy crap, how are we going to hit that? And then, like, are you sure we're going to be able to get there? And then from there, we'll break it back down backwards. So we'll set our annual goals, or even our 5-year goals, and we'll break those back down into annual and then quarterly and monthly and weekly goals, and we'll see what we have to do. So we basically don't do anything unless it aligns with those goals. And that's really where you should be, right? Part of that is a system, part of that is a strategy. But it works. It allows you to really focus on the big picture while breaking it down and working in the day to day as well.
I like that. So, how do you approach building and maintaining lasting connections in business? Because we all know, connections, relationships are everything.
Yeah, I mean, we take pride in the network that we've built. I love talking to people. I talk to everybody, like everybody everywhere. I love talking to people, but keeping that connection is not an easy thing, and so you really have to prioritize making sure to be social and provide value, and that's part of what we talk about a lot too. Is it's not always just about like keeping the connection. It's really about continuously bringing value to that connection. And so we always try and provide value to anybody who we're networking and working alongside with.
So, can you share a pivotal moment in your career that shaped your business philosophy?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
That's a really good question. There's so many, right? Like I look back and I think of some of the most amazing things we've accomplished and how it shaped us. And I also think of like some of the craziest things we've been through and how it's helped us refocus and not make bigger mistakes when we get to the scale we're at now and the scale we're going to be, right?
Uh-huh.
We failed a lot in the beginning that helped us fail forward. And luckily then, so that we're not hitting those roadblocks now. Because when you get to scale, if you're scaling and you're doing things at a large scale and then find out you're doing something wrong at that point, it's a lot more painful than when you were just getting started. So, I don't know if I can pinpoint one specific thing, but we've hit some crazy roadblocks. And at each of those moments, once you're on the other side of it, you look back and you okay, like this still has yet to defeat me, right? And one of the philosophies we have and we repeat to ourselves when we're encountering challenges as an entrepreneur, you're constantly encountering challenges. Is like to this day I have not been defeated, right? And so we really repeat ourselves with that. It's not necessarily about like always winning, but it's about never quitting, right? And so that has shaped our mentality and our devotion to our business for sure.
Okay. Um. So, what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs looking to diversify their business portfolio?
I would tell them to be strategic and specific with it. There are pros and cons to diversification. Like there's a lot of pros in focusing on one niche and being the best at it, right? But there's also pros to not putting all your eggs in one basket. I would just say be really sure you absolutely love it. Be laser focused, set your goals out, and have either great partners or great mentorship or both.
How do you? So, with everything that you have going on, how do you stay motivated and focused while managing multiple business ventures?
Yeah, you got to know your why, right? Like, you got to know why you're getting up in the morning every day to do it. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want to make $10 million or have a private jet." It's like, yeah, those things are coming, but ultimately, they won't get you out of bed in the morning. It's like money is just a vehicle to something else. So knowing what that something else is and making sure it means a lot, that will get you up in front of your alarm clock. That'll wake you up in the morning before any sound or the sun rises and get you moving. So make sure you know your why and keep that really close and consistently remind yourself of it.
So, can you discuss the challenges and rewards of expanding a real estate portfolio across multiple cities?
Challenges and rewards across all cities. I would say the challenge is you need to duplicate your team over and over, right? Like when you're in one city, you build your team out there. You have your local people who are doing everything, managing, constructing, etc. When you go to a new city, although we're remote, you still have to build out a local team of people that you trust and that know you and know what you're looking for. And so I would say the reward is that you can scale your business. And in this day and age, technology is a beautiful thing. But the challenge is definitely having to build a new power team in each city that you go to.
So, what would you say are some common misconceptions about goal planning that you address in your book?
I think a lot of people think goal planning is just like picking something and then going for it, which is like, you know, I was chatting with a student not long ago, and what is your goal? He's like, well, I want this car. I said, cool, what color? And he couldn't answer it. He's like, I don't know, probably black. I said, all right, well, like, what do the tires look like? What color are the seats? Like, what color are the lights on the inside of the car? And like, none of these answers could be there. And so I think a common misconception is people think they want something, but they really don't know what they want and when they want it. And that is so crucial to goal planning. So you should be able to describe it down to the most minute detail. You should be able to know what it smells like, feels like, tastes like, and you should know when you want to achieve it. Like a goal without a deadline is really just like some kind of dream, right? You need to pick a deadline. You need to know exactly what it is, and you need to live inside of that vision of having it already, and then break it down backwards and go achieve it.
I agree. I like that. So you got to visualize what you truly want, and then set a date on when you plan on getting it, so you can.
That's right. And
Yeah,
then live in the mentality of already having it. So like, it's really important you manifesting that and speaking it like in reality and in current terms, present terms. I'm so happy and grateful now that I blank have that car with that, or have time freedom, which looks like 10 hours a day where I get to choose what I want to do instead of working for someone else. Like, these are the things you need to be really specific on.
Yeah, those. Yeah, I'm big on positive thoughts bring positive outcomes. And positive affirmations and things like that, because the tongue is a powerful thing, just like words are. So you can speak something into existence, whether it's good or bad. If you repeat it enough and things like that. So that's part of the reason that I came up with a lot of the merchandise. I actually just came up with some merchandise for my for this podcast that has different positive affirmations, just things that I just came up with off the top of my head, and I just created them into a merch line where people can buy shirts and hoodies and things like that. So
I love it. What's an example that's on one of the merch that you have?
So an example on one of them is like one of them I put my me time is necessary. Because everybody needs that me time, because if you don't
Yeah,
get it, it's almost that me time sometimes help people from going insane.
for
Um,
sure.
so I feel like that's one that's one of the ones that I have. I have 20 different
Oh, wow.
styles, 20 different affirmation quotes, but that's just one of them. So
I love it. That's a great idea. I think those will do really well.
that's the plan. That's the plan. So yes, enough about me. So how do you approach risk management in your various business ventures?
That's a great question. I think uh, a good defense is a good offense. And in business, it's great to be aggressive and on the offense, but your best offense for growth is actually like a solid defense. And we learned this a while ago. The economy was changing rapidly after COVID. We made sure that we put ourselves in a defensive position, and it set us up to be extremely offensive right now. Like, we are on the offense in growth mode right now, but that's only because our defense was so strong.
I like that. Can you share any insights, without giving away too much, on how you were able to apply marketing strategies to grow your real estate business?
I mean, we talk a lot about what we're buying so that everybody knows. I want everybody to know what we're buying, where we're buying, how we're buying, because then when people see something that fits that, they're going to bring it to us. Hey, I just saw this and I know that this is something you're looking for. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. So, we have access to a lot of these things before they go to market or before they come to the public. And a lot of the reason for that is because when anybody sees or hears of something that fits what we've constantly been talking about in marketing, via word of mouth, then we're the first to get it back. So it's help.
Okay. So, with the different business ventures that you have, I know things change a lot, as far as, whether it be requirements and so on and so forth. So what role would you say continuous learning plays in your success as an entrepreneur?
There's no choice, right?
Right.
What's the saying? If you're not growing, you're dying, right? I think
Yeah.
that's the saying. And that's so true. As an entrepreneur, it's your job to, everything is your job ultimately, but it is your job to adapt and learn in what's changing, especially in an industry where you're involving other people, right? And laws, and it's a regulated industry. So it is your job to constantly be learning and stay up to date. I used to hate looking at the news and hate waiting for legislation to come out and reading it. And now I'm have my Google alerts set to come in and with like any type of these breaking news or changes in any type of regulations or legislation, because these things affect my business right away. So I want to be the first person to read it, understand it, learn it, and start a conversation about it with people who are my peers in the industry, so we can discuss what's next and what the strategy will be. I think it's one of the main roles as a business owner is making sure that you can continue to provide for the people that work with you, right? And in order to do that, you have to be responsible for making shifts and pivots as the market and industry changes.
Okay. So with everything that you have going on, your different business interests, how do you measure success?
That's a good question. The easy answer here is we measure success based on different KPIs and metrics in each business, and each business has a measure for how well we're doing, etc. But that's the objective answer. But the subjective answer is really like, how many people are we impacting, and how much of a positive impact are we having? That, to me, that's a huge measure of success, and I think that's what drives us a lot, is understanding the positive impact that we're having. So to me, that's a big driver.
Can you discuss the importance of adaptability? Well, no, you already kind of went over that. We ain't over that. So how do you approach mentorship and maybe possibly giving back to the entrepreneurial community?
Yeah, great question. I've been lucky enough to be mentored by some amazing people in my life, one of which includes like Bob Proctor from The Law of Attraction, The Secret. And he was really one of the pioneers of this, of our age anyways, that took this over. And he passed not long ago, but I got to work really close with him. And the mindset and the paradigm that he teaches is so eye-opening and brain-opening. It's actually crazy. And so, mentorship is really important. I find if you can find a mentor in your industry, that will help you do what we call a quantum leap. Like, you're going to run into speed bumps. You're going to run into things that slow you down. But the more mentorship you have, the easier you can navigate these tough waters, avoiding the landmines on the ground, etc. So whatever metaphor you want to use. A mentorship will help you climb that ladder way faster. And then we love to mentor people as well. I can't tell you how many people we've helped buy their first home, their first investment property, their next investment property, a bigger property, and just help people along the way. Like, we love to give back in any way we can, and we do genuinely believe it's the best way to grow is by giving.
Um, so can you share the first success story that comes to mind of how your goal planning techniques have helped a client or a mentee?
That's a great question. I would say I used to work in a health club a long time ago, and I had this member on my team who worked in a position where their income wasn't always like steady. It depended on the clients and how they serviced them, etc. And they were like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to buy a house for like 6, 7, 8 years, whatever their vision had been." And I sat down with them and I was like, "All right, listen, like I can show you how to be in a home and own it within the next 6 months." And we sat down, showed them like the way to goal plan is, let's break out your goal. Let's see what it looks like. Let's work it backwards. Let's put the time frame with it. Let's plan it all out. We did that. We made a really solid path, and they executed it, and they were in their first house within 6 months. And so we 10x the speed that it took them. They were thinking, 6 years, and we did it in 6 months. So it was amazing.
I like that. I mean, that's a big, a big change. Thinking it's going to take
Huge.
6 years and being able to do it in 6 months is, kind of insane. So
It's the power of knowing what you want and then making a plan to have it, right? It's so many people just don't know the path to get to what they want, but it's really, they just don't know exactly what they want. And if they can narrow it down, like I said, like what color is the car, what color are the rims, what do the tires look like, what does the car smell like? Like, I'm just using car as an example. It's easy to relate to, but if you can give all those details and then tell me when you want it by, that vision really becomes a manifestation. And then the when will actually create the path for you. And so, anything is possible. Anything is possible. I remember Bob Proctor telling a story about how, one day he decided, I'm going to make $1 million before I get up from my kitchen table. And he sat down and he built a seminar, and he called every single person in his Rolodex at the time, he says, and he did not leave his table until it was, I don't know, whatever time at night. But by the last call he made that night, he had sold $1 million worth of tickets to his seminar, and off he went. And that was a testament to his theory and his belief as well.
So with everything that you've done as far as the different things across your business, you writing your book, how do you feel all that? Because me, I'm an entrepreneur as well. So it's certain things that entrepreneurs go through that people don't understand if they haven't ever been an entrepreneur. So can you explain some of the things you deal with that affect your mental health? I would say that you have to overcome. You don't necessarily have to give examples, but just talk about some of the things that you went through, or maybe sometimes how you have felt and how you were able to overcome those certain things.
I mean, this is an important topic. I would say the majority of people will never understand this. And social media plays a really dangerous game by highlighting all of the amazing things that people do, and especially in entrepreneurship, right? You don't have a lot of entrepreneurs that are highlighting their failures. And so as an outsider looking in, it's sunshine and rainbows, right? On the inside of an entrepreneur's mind and what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis is crazy. And you'll never see the trials and tribulations. You'll really only see the successes on social media. And, we've been through some crazy scenarios. Like, I won't even begin to get into them, but like, yeah, I mean, it comes with being stressed. It comes with being anxious. It comes with sleepless nights. It comes with arguing with your family members and spending less time with the people you love because you have such a deep vision for what you want to achieve, right? And these things weigh on you like really, really heavy. It takes crazy discipline to push through some of the darker times, sometimes that are darker than you ever imagined you'd be in, right? And you either either stop and give up and move on to the next thing, or you push through it. And I loved Eric Thomas. I don't know if you know who Eric Thomas is, but he's a motivational speaker too. And he used to say, like, you're in the fire. You're in the fire. Like, you're already being burned. You're already in the fire. You're gonna like run back now or go through it, right? And it's like the amount of discipline that an entrepreneur has to have to make it through that fire is huge. And I think there's a few things that contribute to it. One, like I said earlier, like knowing your deep why as to why you do things, that's going to help push you through. Two, like I also mentioned earlier, is really loving what you do. Makes it a lot easier when you hit those hard times. And then, three is surrounding yourself with people that believe in you and support you, and having a partner or a business partner or relationship partner, with your family and friends that push you and believe in you. And when you're down, they tell you to get off your butt and get out there and keep going, because there will be times when you don't believe in yourself, and it is important to surround yourself with people who believe in you, because as much as you want to say, I'll always believe in myself, there will be times when you don't, and those people around you will help push you back into the spirit of believing in yourself.
I agree. So let's go back to your book. What was the main goal of you writing your book?
Yeah, the main goal, was really just sharing with people the process that I learned with Bob Proctor as to how to think about a goal and then go from just kind of goal setting to actually achieving them. I mean, that was like the slogan of the book, is make the decision. And it was like how to go from goal setting to goal getting. It was really stop thinking about it, get to work. Here's the plan.
So where can people find your book? Is it out on all places that you can buy book, like Amazon?
It was on Amazon. We went Amazon bestseller in under 24 hours. And not long ago, I took the book down, and we're in the middle of a rewrite. So we'll be rewriting the book. It's unavailable right now for good reason. We got a new version coming out, a more mature version. I wrote that book when I was really young, but had already achieved a lot. And I'm coming out with a new version of it to, apply to a more mature and sophisticated demographic.
So after you rewrite this book and you release it, do you plan on doing any other books after?
I gotta tell you, I hate writing. I really don't enjoy the process at all. I love talking with people like this. To me, like, a conversation is so easy, and I can hang out with you all day and we can chat all day and talk anything under the sun. But to sit down with myself and put my thoughts on paper and then organize them and craft them is so tedious. So no, I can't say after this next one that I plan to write anymore, but I enjoy the end result of it. So perhaps if I had someone who was helping me, then I'd be more inclined to do another one.
Yeah, I mean, people that write books, I feel like to write a book, you have to be a super introvert, like somebody that just don't like people.
Yeah.
Like, cause I don't know, I feel like the people that are more people's persons, they can't write a book. They can't sit there and zone out and just do
That's
it.
right.
But it's like the people that really just don't like people anyway, just like, I'll go out. I don't prefer people, but I'll go out. But they can focus more and they can actually do it. I mean, I probably can do it too if I took the time, but man,
you should. It was a good experience, you really learn quickly what you really want to talk about or write about, because once you hit on something and you're like, oh, I really like this topic, you actually write way more fluid. But when you get to the topic that you're like, this needs to be there, but it's just not my favorite, you see how quickly you get held up. But the way I did it was a little different. Had a good friend of mine, Amy, and she was I just had an amazing conversation with her, and she was so good at pulling my thoughts out. And so I think a couple times a week we would go to the water, and we would watch the sunrise early. I had to meet her at 5:30 in the morning. It was crazy. And she was like, you must be here at this time. And I was all right. So I would get there, we would put my phone down on audio record, and we would just talk. and she would ask me questions, and she would say, here's the topic for like, or I would tell her, here's the topic for the day. This is what the chapter's about. And then she would just hit me with questions, and I would answer them, and she'd be like, well, why that? Why not this instead? And it would create this beautiful conversation. And then I would take the recording back. I'd listen to it. I would annotate it and take notes on it. And then that would form the basis of the information in the chapter. So it was more fun for me that way.
Yeah, I like that. That's a different way of doing it, because now you're not so focused on, hey, I'm writing this book. You're so focused on like, hey, we're going to have a conversation. Here's going to be the topic that we're going to focus the conversation on.
That's
and then
right.
wherever it goes. And then you just take all that conversation, and then you can form it into a book because you already have everything that you need. So
that's right.
I like that. So that's, for the most part, those are the main questions that I have for today. So is
Awesome.
there any anything that we haven't discussed that you would like to discuss with the audience?
Not really. Just get out there and do it. That's really what it is. I think that so many people talk about it, think about it, dream about it, but they don't just do it. And if you're listening and you're thinking about something, right, just make that decision and get started. You really don't know. You don't need to know how you're going to get to the top of the staircase. You just got to take that first step and make that decision, take that first step, and enjoy the ride.
So I want to take this time to tell you that I appreciate you coming on the show today. And it's definitely a good chat that we had today. And maybe we can come on and do a part 2 on the other channel that I was telling you about
Love
down the
it.
line. So definitely I appreciate you coming on today. Everybody that's watching, you guys, go to the description. You'll see all of Evan's email. His contact information or his social media or whatever that he has will be down there in the description. So you guys go, follow him, support him, and just go comment on this stuff and ask him, hey man, when's the rewrite coming out? You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, well, Alex, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. You had some great questions, and I really enjoyed my time with you. So thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Same here. So everybody that's watching, thank you all for tuning in. You guys have just watched another episode of All in All with Alex, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.